Why do we often find it difficult to move on? Why do we struggle to let go when God calls us to move forward? Today, we will explore the story of Samuel, who found it difficult to move on from Saul after God rejected him as Israel's king. In 1 Samuel 8, the people of Israel asked Samuel to appoint a king for them. This troubled Samuel deeply, but God informs him that they are rejecting God's rule, not Samuel's. God then instructed Samuel to anoint Saul as their king. Despite Saul's own feelings of insignificance, God chose him to be the first king of Israel. However, in 1 Samuel 15, we discover that God rejected Saul as king due to his disobedience. This leads Samuel to go into a period of mourning over Saul's failure. It was during this time that God spoke to Samuel, saying, "How long will you mourn for Saul, since I have rejected him as king over Israel? Fill your horn with oil and set out, I am sending you to Jesse of Bethlehem. I have chosen one of his sons to be the king." 1 Samuel 16 verse 1. Samuel struggled to accept that the person he anointed and mentored had become a failure. Like Samuel, how often do we mourn over circumstances or relationships that haven't worked out in our best interests? We may have invested so much into situations or relationships, considering them important parts of our lives, only to see them crash before us. Acknowledging that something we invested so much in no longer serves us as we had hoped can be a humbling experience, as Samuel's behavior exemplifies. In these moments, we can turn to 1 Samuel 16 verse 1 and draw encouragement from three important lessons. First, we must stop mourning. Persistent grief can change our nature, but it won't change our situation. It hinders our progress. So, it is time to let go. It is time to move on. Second, we need to prepare ourselves for what God has in store. Just as Samuel was instructed to fill the horn with oil, we too must prepare ourselves for God's plans. Trust that He has something remarkable in store for us. Third, take action. At the very moment Samuel was mourning, God was orchestrating one of His greatest moves. Similarly, God has grand plans for each one of us. We must be sensitive to His voice and obediently follow His lead. We witness in 1 Samuel 16 verse 13 that Samuel anoints David as the king of Israel, following God's direction. If Samuel had continued to mourn, he would have missed the opportunity to anoint David, a man after God's own heart, who would become the greatest king in Israel's history. Likewise, if we persist in mourning and feeling sorry for ourselves, we may miss out on God's greatest blessings. If you find yourself in a season of mourning, we hope you are encouraged by this video and pray that you remain open to the leading of the Holy Spirit and faithfully follow His guidance. Don't forget to engage with our content by subscribing, liking, sharing, and commenting.